Readers Entertainment Radio presents Booklights with your host, author Lisa Kessler. Booklights, where we're shining a light on good books.
Good morning, everyone. It's Monday again, or Blur's Day, whatever day it happens to be if you're staying inside. Today, I'm really excited. Everybody who listens to the show regularly knows that I love talking to debut authors because I can remember when my first book came out, and it was so exciting. And yet, when you're a debut author, you don't have a bunch of readers who have already been checking you out. You really have to earn those readers. And so I get excited every time a debut author contacts me and says, "Can I come on the show?" My answer is always, yes, come on, talk about your book. So today we have debut author Shannon Rogers on the show. And you probably haven't read her yet, but if you like sci-fi, you should definitely go grab that book. So I'll read her bio here, and then I'll let you meet her. Shannon Rogers has finished many novels, but after taking some time off, she connected with talented and prolific author and friend C.G. Mosley, who had begun a sci-fi space opera trilogy and came up with the brilliant notion that Shannon could finish writing the rest of the story. And before she could blink, she was signing her first publishing contract for her co-authored book, the sci-fi space story titled Starcruiser Titan II, The Abandoned Secret. When not writing, Shannon is reading, dancing, singing loudly in her car, playing with her dogs, obsessively watching makeup tutorials, song reactions, and dance choreography videos on YouTube, and searching Spotify and Pandora for the next brilliant artist and songs she will then run around and shove in her friends' faces, demanding they listen. Shannon lives in Nashville, Tennessee with her husband and fur babies while butting into the lives of her adult son and daughter who tolerate it with exasperated sighs but genuine love. She also spoils her grandbabies. What more could you want? You can find out more at her website, and I did put a link to her website right there on the Blog Talk site. So feel free to click that anytime and check out her book. And also, I'm not sure if she has a newsletter yet, but if she does, be sure to sign up for that. And without any further ado, Shannon, you there?
I am here.
Yay! Welcome to Booklights. Congratulations on your first book.
So much. It's been very exciting. Thank you for having me.
Oh, you're welcome. So what can you tell our listeners, all those readers out there, about Starcruiser Titan II? Why should they run out and buy it right now today?
Well, I would say because this was really kind of a collaboration of love. The original author, C.G. Mosley, had written the first book, which it was very, very good, and gathered a following, and everyone was asking him, "Where's the sequel? Where's the sequel?" And he was like, I'm gonna try. And he started writing a little bit of it, and he told me, "You know what? I'm not sure that I really want to finish this, or I don't know where I'm going with it. Why don't you take it?" So I took it, I plotted it, I finished it, and it turned into something that, to me, was something I had never tried before. So if you want to see someone who has never tried their hand at sci-fi before, then definitely come and take a look at it, because it's something new and different for me. I'd never written anything like it before, and I found that I really loved it, and it was just a niche for me that I fell into. And, of course, being a romance writer at heart, I had to interject a little bit of romance into the story as well. So hopefully people will enjoy that.
So what is happening on the Starcruiser Titan II? Is there still Earth? How far in the future are we?
We are pretty far into the future. We have gotten the Starcruiser Titan out of their galaxy, and they have met up with some alien civilizations, and they're trying to figure out how to keep the big bads away so that way they can get home, because they're kind of stuck where they are. They've been cut off, so to speak, on a way of getting home. So they have to kind of figure that out, and they're doing lots of little fighting up in space with the bad enemy, and there's a little bit of romance here and there to kind of mix in for downtime, and just to kind of keep our readers intrigued on the characters. So they're definitely got their work cut out for them.
Oh, I love it. And do you have does this take place like in our galaxy? Do you have our planets, or is this like some other, like Star Wars, a galaxy far, far away?
This is other. It's not quite far, far, far away, but it's definitely outside of our realm, and off into an area where other civilizations live, and they've run into quite a few other types of beings out there. So some friendly, some not. So this is definitely outside of our norm and beyond where we would be able to see with any kind of telescope.
And are there humans in the book, or is everybody alien races?
There are humans. So the Star Cruiser Titan is populated with humans, so they're all from Earth, and they end up caught in with a group of aliens. They make first contact, and they are very humanoid, and they are asked in the first book to, hey, help us out. We've got something going on here, and we'll build a gate where you can get into our area, and if you'll get there and help us with this, then we'll help you get back home. And turns out that things don't go quite according to plan.
What?
But nothing goes according to plan in a book, does it? You're supposed to make it worse and worse and worse.
Definitely. Yeah, when I give workshops on those dark moments, it's like, keep making it worse.
Yes. Somebody once told me, paint them into a corner, write yourself into a corner that even you don't know how to get out of, and there you go. You're on the right track.
Exactly. Yeah, writing's not supposed to be easy.
Not at all. So it's definitely a fun little universe to play with.
Oh, good. Well, how did you and C.G. Mosley hook up? I mean, your background is in romance, right? But are you a big sci-fi reader? Is that how you met him, or how did that all happen?
Yes, I am a fan of certain sci-fi. I had never actually read any military sci-fi before. I am a huge fan of Amy Kathleen Ryan's Glow series. I loved that. I'm a huge fan of Vera Nazarian's The Atlantis Grail series. And then Beth Revis, I think, just literally wrote the book on sci-fi romance for me, which was the Across the Universe series. And I follow quite a few of those types of more sci-fi romance type stories. The way I met CG was really kind of funny. We had a common interest in a reality show and ended up both kind of joining a chat room with a bunch of other people that wanted to talk about this show. And we just kind of kicked off a friendship. And only later, after we'd known each other for several months, did we actually discover that we had writing in common. And I found out that he was actually a multi-published author. Yeah, and I found out he was a multi-published author and had a lot of great books out there. And then from there, it just kind of took off. It morphed into a writing partnership.
Wow. So what was the reality show?
Big Brother.
Nice.
Yep. We love Big Brother. And we still are all friends, all of us who had joined that group. I think we all met back in, August of 2018. And we're all still friends today, so it was definitely a very fruitful meeting.
Yeah, and when you were writing the book or when you finished it, did you ever give it back to CG to read it through? How did the co-authoring process work?
Oh, absolutely. So he had begun the beginning of had started the story, I should say, and for the second one, and he'd written several chapters into the beginning of the book, and I kept telling him, "You've got to finish this book. Your people on your reviews are asking for a sequel," and he was like, "Yes, I'm going to do it." And so I kept pushing him to do it, and he finally came to me one day and he said, "Shannon," he said, "I really love to read these, and I wanted to try to love to write them, but it's just not for me. My niche is over here. Why don't you take it and you do it? And I was like, oh, my gosh. And I didn't know if I could do that because, you're taking a world and characters created by someone else initially and trying to make them your own. So that was a little challenging. And so I just basically interviewed him. And I said, okay, tell me everything that you thought of when you thought of these characters. And I just made just copious notes. And I would say, okay, well, what did you envision for this person? What kind of personality did you want them to have? And I just kind of interviewed him about the characters. And then I sat down and plotted out the rest of the book and did like the little chapter outline and showed it to him. And he said, this is great. I can't believe you tied it up all in one book. If you wanted to, you could still have a third. And I was like, yeah, I kind of left it open for that, But theoretically, if I wanted to end it at 2, I could, but good readers will be able to pick out the thing that I left, for the third one. But as I would finish a chapter, I would email it to him. He would read it, and he would write back and tell me his thoughts, and it just kind of went until I finished the whole thing. That's how we did it.
Oh, that's so cool. And so did that give you, that must have been like a huge learning experience, right? Did that give you a whole new feel for sci-fi, having a sci-fi author, give you feedback on your chapters?
It really did. He would definitely interject some wonderful thoughts here and there and tell me, I can see this happening this way or this way, and I like where you went with this, but have you thought about trying that? And so that was very helpful to me, and it just kind of opened my eyes to, you've loved reading these sci-fi stories. You can actually write one, and this is really good. And I enjoyed it so much that I thought, hey, this is my spot. This is my niche. I really love sci-fi. And it's just sort of an area where you can, I don't want to say make it up as you go along, because you do have to kind of think about technology and what can possibly be possible in the future. But
right,
it really kind of gives you license to explore your mind and just kind of think outside the box of what a world could possibly be that you create, So it was really very eye-opening, and it really helped me to come up with where I had wanted to try to find a space that was right for me, because I think that was part of my problem for so many years trying to write, is I just could not find the right subgenre for myself. And this one was it. It just clicked.
I love it. And you're still writing one more book in this, right? It's a trilogy, the Star Cruiser Titan?
Yes, I am going to write one final book. I did leave a small, at the time that I finished writing the second one, I wasn't quite sure if I would be doing a third. But I left myself a tiny little opening where if I wanted to, then I could, and I've since made up my mind that I definitely will. Because there have been reviews, from people who have said, I'd love to see more of this. So I thought, okay, I'm going to have to go ahead and finish that for sure. So, yeah, there will be one final book to this.
Great. And do you see yourself writing more sci-fi romance? Is that the kind of romance that you want to write in the future?
I definitely do. I'm, in fact, working on something right now that is a sci-fi romance that is a little bit of a departure from space. It's not quite in space, but it's still sci-fi. And it's going to have a lot more romance in it. I did interject romance into Star Cruiser Titan, too, because it's just me. I had to do it. But this will be more full-fledged sci-fi romance that I'm going to be doing. And I've already started to I'm at the point where I'm about to start writing at this point. So I've done all my research. I've done all my pre-planning. I'm kind of a plantser. So I'm somewhere in between planning and a pantser, I've done all of that, and I'm ready to kind of get going on the writing at this point. So I'm excited.
Oh, very cool. Well, I'm excited for you, too. That sounds great. And I write paranormal, so I get the whole, the world building is so fun because you can make things up. But occasionally, you do have to be, certain that you don't break your own rules. And so occasionally you write yourself into, you're like, why did I make that rule that, for me, like I made my werewolves can only shift during the full moon. And there have been times where I'm like, why did I do this? If they could only turn into a wolf now. But have you found yourself in conundrums like that with your sci-fi?
Yes, actually I have, because if there's one thing that I've learned very quickly, it's that sci-fi readers are very smart, and they know their sci-fi. So if you're mentioning, light speed, then you better know what you're talking about. You better have put your research in, because they will call you on it in a heartbeat. So you definitely have to have done all of your research and have your ducks in a row and know what you're talking about, and kind of stay within strictures of what you know is possible, but at the same time be able to have that freedom of movement to put in some creative license as well. But making it clear, hey, I'm using creative license here, so bear with me, people,
Right. So we just discovered this brand new secret that will solve that problem, but it's really real. So every time I have sci-fi writers on, I always have to ask, do you like better Star Wars or Star Trek? Because I can really tell the difference between the sci-fi, because Star Wars is more, magical sci-fi and the Force and all that, whereas Star Trek is very, it's very scientific sci-fi where, this is how this could work and all that kind of thing. So for you, which one is your favorite?
I like them both, but I do have a favorite, and it is Star Wars for sure. And you're
and Star Wars
has
more romance too.
Yes, it does. And you're so right about there being a difference in the way those realms are treated and how they come across in the story. One being very scientific, and then the other, being a little bit more magical and otherworldly. So I guess I'm drawn more to the Star Wars side. But I think I saw that movie when it first came out when I was a kid, and I've been a fan ever since. So, yeah, definitely Star Wars for me.
Yeah, I can remember, again, I always use Star Wars for my Dark Moments workshop, because that has that moment when Obi-Wan looks over at Luke and turns off his lightsaber and gets cut down. I guess every time I think about that scene, I'm instantly 7 years old and my gum is falling out of my mouth, because he was our only hope. They told us the whole movie, Obi-Wan, you're our only hope. Like, what?
I know.
That was my first taste of being hurt by a dark moment.
Yes. I was sitting there going, no, fight, dude, fight.
Yeah, what's happening? but I think that really that made the whole Star Wars thing work, because that's really the moment that all of us were all in. What?
Right. But then it just hit me though, the first movie was called A New Hope, so that I wonder if that was kind of an irony to the fact that they kept referring to him as the only hope, and then of course Luke Skywalker comes across and he's the new hope. So
he's the new hope, right? Yeah, and Leia, who we didn't know was his sister. I'm giving all the spoilers, but it's a really old movie. You all should have watched it by now.
Yeah, if there's anybody on the planet who hasn't seen it, then there might not be any hope.
Right. Yeah, there is no hope.
Yeah.
So as a debut author, what has been your biggest learning curve through this?
Honestly, it didn't have anything to do with the writing. It's more, what do you do after you finished it? And how do you get people to know that it's out there? That's really been the biggest thing for me, is to, I got to turn off the creative brain here for a little bit, and now I got to go into the left, figure out, now this is a business, so I got to make sure that people know that this is out there, and how do I tell them, So then you're thinking, okay, social media, newsletters, website, and learning how to kind of make sure people know that you're there, know that the book is there, get readers involved, and just kind of network and make friends. So that was definitely something a little bit more challenging for me because I hadn't been into that piece of it yet. And my publisher doesn't do a whole lot of promotion for debut authors or any authors. I think that's kind of true across the board, really. But you really have to get yourself out there and push for yourself and really do everything that you can to get your name and get your book out there for people to see, because it's no good writing a book if nobody gets to read it or whatnot. It could defeat the purpose. So that was definitely a big learning curve for me. Lots of research.
Right. Yeah. And for the readers who are listening, I give this lecture all the time, but I'm just going to do a short version. But you all have to run out and get the book right away because I know I have done this as a reader in the past. I don't anymore. I go buy that book right away because publishers are just looking at numbers, and so if the people who are waiting for the whole trilogy to be done before I read the whole thing, and the problem is if nobody buys book 2, then the publisher goes, well, I can't really see putting out book 3, and then the readers are like, wait, there's no book 3? So so definitely if you're listening out there, go buy book 1 and 2 because that is what determines if you get a book 3. So you got to support the books as they come out, even if you wait to read them till the very end.
That's very true, and I will add to that and say that this is a unique situation too, in the sense that, like I said, this could be a standalone second sequel here if people are one of those types of people that like to wait and read the whole thing at the end. You'd be okay if you stopped on 2 and if you had to wait on 3 because everything is kind of tied up where it would need to be with just a tiny little opening. So if they wanted to, it'd be like a standalone if they liked it that way.
And could they jump in on this book, on book 2, or should they read book 1 first?
Oh, they definitely need to read book 1 for sure.
Okay.
C.G. Mosley did a really good job on book 1. It's a really good book. It lays the foundation perfectly. It's definitely a must read before you. And of course, it doesn't end all nice and tied up in a bow. There are cliffhangers. So, you theoretically you could come in and start reading book 2, but you'd be lost as an Easter egg. You really need to have the foundation of book 1 for sure.
Okay, that's fair. And and what are you working on next? Are you working on the 3rd book right now, or are you working on something different?
I'm working on something a little bit different. It is a sci-fi romance, but it is set far into the future, not horribly far, the year 2056. And this is a lit RPG romance. So it's about a virtual game world. And there is trying to come up with a summary off the top of my head here. The developer of the world's first fully submersive virtual reality game works for a company that is using his technology, which is a special brain to computer technology, to siphon off people's thoughts and use them however they want to try to rule the world. And he discovers what they're doing and knows he has to shut them down. And unfortunately, they have sent an assassin after him to prevent him from being able to do that. And, of course, the assassin is a woman. So you can kind of see where that's going to go. Yeah, but she's not the only one, unbeknownst to them. So it's definitely a little bit different than anything I've tried before. I'm very excited. I had to do a lot of research on that, of what's possible right now in the gaming world. What do they look, what does it look like they might possibly be able to do in 5 years, 10 years? And then from there, I just kind of let my imagination go wild and say, okay, what about 30, 40 years from now? What could I create that would be different? So that's been an interesting experience for me to create something like that. I'm going to write that one first, and then I'm going to come back to the Space Trilogy and finish that off.
Oh, very cool. So I have to ask, because I just watched the first episode, but have you watched Upload on Amazon Prime?
I have not, but I have it on my radar to watch for sure.
Yeah.
Because I'm definitely a fan of that type of show.
Yeah, well, it's been fascinating so far. I just watched the first episode, but your virtual game world made me think of it, because they basically, if you're dying, you can be uploaded into this, virtual heaven kind of thing, and so that your consciousness doesn't die, and you're basically, it's that same kind of concept. You're stuck in a virtual game, a virtual reality.
Right.
So it's very interesting, and there's the added twist that he was a coder before, and now he's in there. So anyway, I'm very intrigued, but I bet you would like it.
Oh yeah, I definitely have been keeping my eye on it, and I do want to watch it, but I wanted to get past my plotting stage before I did, because I didn't want to be inadvertently. I guess, what's the word I'm looking for, kind of influenced by anything else.
Right.
So
right.
I had it on my radar to watch, but I was waiting to watch it until after I finished plotting.
There you go. Well, when you finally get to watch it, you'll have to message me and let me know your thoughts.
I'll do that. I will definitely do that.
So for the people who are maybe thinking about writing, I always ask the authors what their writing journey looked like, because it's different for everybody. And I know from reading on your website that you've been writing since you were a little kid, but what was your actual writing journey like to getting published? How has that looked for you?
Well, I started, like you said, as a little kid. I began writing. I did poetry, short stories, started some novels, didn't finish them. It was in my 20s before I actually finished my first novel. I joined Romance Writers of America and went to every workshop and conference that I could go to, really trying to hone my craft. And I got very close multiple times, to the point where editors were sending me revision letters, and then in the end they just ended up passing. And I had an event happen in my life that kind of derailed me a little bit, and some years went by, and I didn't have the writing bug at that time, because there was so much going on. And this was just really great timing to kind of reawaken my desire to write again, because when I met CG, it just kind of started out as hey, let me read some of your work. What's your work in progress right now? I'll read it, I'll edit it for you, And so I offered to do some line edits for him, and in the process of helping him do that, all of a sudden I started to have this, gosh, you know what, I miss writing.
Yay.
I want to write. So it just kind of happened from there, and I guess it just goes to prove the point that it's never too late, and if that is your dream, you need to pursue it, whenever you can.
Right. I love that. That's awesome. I love that story. And it also is, sometimes we work so hard thinking that the time is now, and then later it appears, you did all your homework early and now it's time. And so, you're right. It's never too late.
Yes, absolutely.
So we're quickly running out of time, and before the show's over, how can readers connect with you?
Well, I guess the easiest way would be to go to my website. I have a social media page on my website, all of the different places that you can follow me. The best place to follow me is to, actually follow me everywhere, but the best thing would be to join my newsletter. And there is a link there for my MailChimp to sign up and become a part of the newsletter. So I send out a newsletter every Friday, and I often include, plugs for other people's books, sci-fi and other types of books, to let people know what I found that I thought was great, and because I like to spread the love around, and that would be probably the best place to do it, is instead of telling them to go to all these different places, just go to my website and go to the social media page.
Perfect. And I put a link to Shannon's website right there on the Blog Talk site. So click over there and sign up. Thanks so much for being here, Shannon, and good luck with your first book.
Thank you so much, Lisa. I so appreciate coming on.
Thanks for joining us on Booklights.
Bye.
Be sure to connect with us at www.readersentertainment.com for articles, blogs, videos, and podcasts that matter to readers.
From the excitement of nominations to the applause after the opening of an envelope at the big award shows, The Hollywood Reporter is your source for the inside scoop on the moments leading up to and celebrating the wins of your favorite films, actors, and all the people that made them. Follow the race at HollywoodReporter.com for predictions, reviews, and voters. Check out the THR Awards Hub for everything you need for award season coverage. Visit THR.com today and subscribe to our newsletters so you don't miss a beat.
It can get lonely climbing Mount McKinley, so to entertain myself, I go to ChumbaCasino.com. At Chumba Casino, I can play hundreds of online casino-style games for free, like online slots, bingo, Slingo, and more. Plus, I get a daily login bonus. It's just too bad that up here, I don't have anyone to share my excitement with. Woohoo! Woohoo!
Live the Chumba life. Anytime, anywhere. Play for free now at ChumbaCasino.com. VGW Group. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.